Hey everybody, Ryan here with the Restaurant Boss, and I want to introduce you to a gentleman that I met at the NRA show, the National Restaurant Association. They like to be called the Restaurant Show, and I don't blame them for that. But it was such an honor to be able to speak at the show in 2023. Kind of a quick preview. I've been invited to speak again 24, which is so awesome. But a guy got about 20 of us together. We went out and did an Italian beef bar crawl, if you want to call it that, where we tried, I think, 4 or 5 Italian beef restaurants. But there were some really cool people there. But Nico, the gentleman here on the call with us, ended up driving me back to my hotel one night. We had a great opportunity to chat, and it's taken us probably 8 months to find the time to reconnect here. But I'll let Nico kind of tell you about it. I know he runs marketing for a brand called Naf Naf. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
So Nico, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then the goal here today, honestly, guys, we're just going to have a little chat about marketing, restaurants. Nico had some really awesome things that he's working on and some pretty cool opinions on where restaurants are going. You guys know that I'm pretty opinionated, so I just thought we'd have some fun here and share something with you. So take it away, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Nico Nieto. As you can tell by my accent, I'm not originally from Cuba, even though I live here. I am Colombian, born and raised. We were just talking before getting like officially started. I am a marketer, kind of by accident. I started my career running product teams and technology teams, doing apps were not a thing yet, and doing websites and doing banner as with front end and back end developers. And then the world turned digital, and I was a digital guy. And then marketing became a lot of digital stuff, and you had to go, to know social and to know display and to know ads and to know prompts and apps and things like that. And then suddenly, product related calls or product strategy calls became marketing strategy calls. And then it kind of the world flip, and I flip with it, and then I became a marketer. I am currently the CMO of exciting brand called Naf Naf Grill. We're a Middle Eastern inspired concept, point and shoot, build your own concept. So you choose, your base, you choose a protein between, or award-winning shawarma, falafel, handmade in the store, crispy chicken or grilled steak, fresh for you in the store every day. You can do a stuffed pita. We bake pitas. We have a baker inside of our, of every single one of our restaurants. So as our guests are coming in, they get initially enticed by the smell of fresh bread being baked throughout the day in the stores. You build whatever you want to build. You add or fresh toppings and sauces to really make it your own. You want it spicy, you can make it spicy. You want it lighter, you make it lighter. You want it creamy, you make it creamy. We're really flexible. If you're vegan, vegetarian, we have options for everybody. And then you can add kind of like other sides and soup and fries and drinks and desserts. And then just really excited to expand Middle Eastern food in America. It can be as healthy as you want it, as indulgent as you want it. And then, yeah, we've been busy kind of building restaurants. And then, we have operations in about 12 states right now. We're about to open our 39th location, our third one in Wisconsin. And excited to be here, man. It was a pleasure to get a bunch of Italian subs about 8 months ago, and excited to be here and then just talk marketing and talk restaurants and just to catch up.
Awesome. So how many locations do you guys have?
39 locations,
Yeah,
starting next Monday. So 39 location.
Awesome. So I'd be curious, just kind of to spark a conversation here. My theory on marketing with restaurants. Well, let me start from the beginning. I'm not a marketing guy. I understand marketing. So I teach high level marketing and I help, but I'm not like a marketing guy. So one thing that I always say is if you have back pain, you can go to a surgeon, they're going to recommend surgery. If you have back pain and go to a chiropractor, they're going to recommend chiropractic. If you go to physical therapy, they're going to recommend physical therapy, et cetera, et cetera. Pain management, they're going to recommend pain management meds. So one of the things I always say is when people come to me for help with marketing, I'm an operations guy. So I provide operational help. Do I give some advice on marketing? Yes. But to me, when I look at a brand, I look at it through the eyes of a marketer, and then through the eyes of an operator. So I say, like, if you go to a marketer, they're going to tell you, don't waste your time with an operator. you need to do marketing. Now, the reason I say that is kind of my question here is like, what are your just general thoughts? If you were talking to independent operators struggling out there, like again, specifics, but like just marketing. Restaurant marketing can be very scary and intimidating. I have some thoughts, but I want to hear yours for that guy or gal who has one or two locations. They're in the office, they're checking the line, they're busy, they're struggling, and they're like, how am I supposed to also add this to my plate?
Well, that's a great question, and I think it's a useful question because whether you have two, whether you have 10, whether I spent a lot of years working for McDonald's, 15,000 restaurants in the U.S., 25, right? It's the same question, different levels, different power, right? Like different problems. Uh, uh, but I learned this a long time ago, and this is part of our philosophy of how we run Naf Naf, and it comes from the CEO down. It comes from our founder in 2009. He was maniacal about food and maniacal about recipes and hospitality and customer service and operations. So maybe I'm going to go on a limb here. As a marketer, I believe that you start with the fundamental of operations. We believe that comp sales are not responsibility of marketing, are responsibility of operations. And that debunks a myth of this environment where marketing is pointing fingers at operations and operations is pointing fingers at marketing when we're talking about volume and sales reports and kind of like comp sales. We believe that it doesn't matter how many marketing dollars you put behind something. If you're not serving every guest in front of you, it's not going to work. So if you're in the office and you're trying, you're scratching your head as an owner of, of a one restaurant, five restaurants, 10 restaurant company, you're trying to figure out how do we drive volumes? My first question is going to be, how are your operations, right? And I'm not an operations guy, just like you're not a marketing guy, right? But the first thing I was gonna say, what's happening there? And funny enough, that's what we've done at Naf Naf. Seeing our new leadership came here and our new CEO came here, we went back to fundamentals for the last 18 months to 24 months. We created, what we call internally. It wasn't really a code name for the project, but we created this thing called 0 to 1. And 0 to 1 meaning, there is a million things we gotta do in the business. Let's start with the first things that are the most important that will really impact the business. And that was 0 to 1. Yeah, we want to do 1 to 2, 1, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. What is more important right now? And it was discipline with recipes, creating items that were going to be sourceable, that were going to be efficient for supply chain, that were going to create the right level of food cost, reduce variance, simplify the ability for the team in the stores to execute that. Let's take a look at our paper cost and food cost and primes and how do we are counting things and how are we deploying, how are we using things, and let's look at training. How are we telling these operators every day to do stuff? And we do it having a skin in the game. We have 39 locations, 22 of those locations are ours. The other locations are franchisees. So one of the values of kind of going in business with us as a franchisee is we're in the same game as you are. We're opening the stores and operating the stores every day. So that also is a double-edged sword for us because when we look at things that we implement, releasing a new menu item or bringing an LTO or launching a new sauce or changing something in training or whatever, we're not only thinking about how it impacts our business from our corporate stores. We're thinking about this needs to be easy to be trained, implemented, executed, and scaled at the franchisee level, right? For each one of the franchise locations. We cannot kind of preach something and not being able to kind of apply it, both for us and for them. So my first advice is let's take a look at operations. And the three things that I will highlight there is number one, staffing levels. The staffing levels can be life or death for you. Are you overstaffing and then now you're having all of this labor cost that is killing your unit level economics? So that's one, especially nowadays where like new approved laws for minimum wage and wages rising or whatever, it can really, really, really impact your business in a positive way. Are you understaffed? So then your growth is being limited, your ability to generate throughput and kind of like create that funnel that you want to create in the store, right? If you're overstaffed or understaffed, that has to direct impact in your business. And again, I'm not an operator, so like you will be able to explain to everybody kind of what
I love
happens.
hearing it from a marketer though. Like I love
Uh,
like the fact that you're even that involved and have the words and knowing what your team is doing on operations, I think is where that's what I loved about the conversation we had in the car was
yeah,
you're the CMO, but you're so involved in operations, and I don't think they can operate independently.
yeah. I think I I created this for myself. Of I want to learn, but I become usually really really close friends with the operations team. I think there's a lot of value for me to understand what they go through. So then when we're creating campaigns or initiatives, I can create things that number one are not going to break them, but number two, that actually can benefit from them having my back as well to execute kind of what we put together. So it can be a true, really, really kind of mutual benefit partnership. The second thing that I will do, other than staffing levels, will be uh, what are in whatever way you want to measure this. There is a million things. We have friends that own companies that do this. We have whatever. How you measure your guest satisfaction scores? That can be anything for like positive or negative comments in DoorDash and Uber Eats, from like Google reviews or Yelp reviews, or people that are sending you an email to customer care. However you do that, one of them as a proxy, all of them, or you have a platform. However you do it at your scale, what are you listening? And then for us, we pay attention more to the how many negative comments you have. And you can do this your way. We did a really simple kind of Excel correlation modeling between number of negative comments per every, let's say, ten or $20,000 of sales. That's depending on kind of on your average weekly sales. And then we prove this over the last months, and we know what is the acceptable number of issues in a specific restaurant per X amount of sales. And if you're between 0 and 1, we know that you're growing your sales. If you're between 2 and 3, you're probably flat. And if you're more than 3 a week, your store is declining. So we have these hypotheses. There is no platform that is really giving you this stuff. You just gotta do it for whatever works for you. And then for us, it was really evident. Anytime you saw a store said, you saw a sales report and this store was, and you start trending the last 6, 8 weeks and continues to be flat, then the first thing we look is at operations, and then it's either a staffing issue or it's they're having customer complaints for whatever reason. My food is late, or the portion was wrong, or whatever, and then you start really digging and then try to fix stuff from an operations standpoint. And then the third one, I will say, then it goes more into the marketing stuff a little bit, and is, well, if you and some of this is being vulnerable about looking inside, right? It's easy. My boss always, or Greg Wilman, our CEO, always says that he's been an operator for 25 years. He operated some really big brands, and when he first started this journey, it was them thinking, oh, we're doing everything great. I don't know what's happening. Maybe the market is not responding. And until they were in a really critical spot and they went and they looked inside and said, okay, maybe we don't know what we're doing. Let's take a look at everything, is when they really started looking at, oh, there is a lot of opportunities and we are not perfect and we are not doing things. So maybe after you look at some of the staffing level, your people, look at when are those issues coming at the end of the day, or is it on the weekends where maybe your best people are not wanting to be in the store, or they don't want to close, or they don't want to work after 6 p.m. or whatever it is for you. So you look at your people, you look at the staffing levels, you look at the customer satisfaction scores and kind of what's happening there. You look at your kind of your unit level economics. I think that there is it's not full marketing, but there is something. I believe that the role of part of the role of the stores and marketing is you need to be physically available and mentally available. And physically available is, are you open all the hours open? Are you closing too early, or are you staying too late? Like, are you? And then the mentally available is, I want to show up everywhere where the customers are trying to engage with me. Am I there when people are going to search for me on Google? Am I there when people are going to try to search for me on DoorDash? I'm there when people are trying to search for me on Instagram, right? I'm like there when they're looking for crispy chicken or for a stuffed pita or for a rice bowl, right? Do I show up? And if you don't show up, that will be the first thing, because if you're
Love
not
that.
able to be discovered
Love that.
in today's world, the word of mouth is still really important, but relying on word of mouth while everybody else around you in those 5 miles on your trade area and your delivery area is blasting content all the time, it's a little bit hard to do. So I think you need to make sure this doesn't mean spending a gazillion dollars. Doesn't mean maybe sometimes even spending money at all, but it's like, are you available to your customers, visible for when they're looking to eat, right? And then if you're not, I will focus my attention to that. And there is really
Yeah, and a
effective
lot
ways
of
to do
this is
that.
simple. You could watch some YouTube videos and do this yourself. You could hire some very inexpensive people to help. But really, I see a lot of restaurant websites that when you Google them, they have URL, but they have no tags, they have no metas, their menu is in a JPEG format, so it's not going to be searchable. Like you said, like being visible is sometimes just as easy as taking a little bit of effort to make sure that you're visible.
Make It Happen is the book I wish I had when I was operating restaurants. Inside are the lessons that took me 10 years to learn and 10 more years of teaching to perfect. I've condensed the most important lessons into this tiny book for building a big restaurant business. I am on a mission to improve restaurants all over the world. Because of that, I want to send you a free copy. Grab yours today at therestaurantboss.com.